Welcome to another video. It's Jim Fair, photoenthusiastic@gmail.com. Today I'd like to talk about the Nikon 24-200 do-everything lens for the Z series.
So this is the lens with the lens hood on the end here. And yeah, it goes all the way out from 24-200. It's got a lock switch so you can lock in the focal length. There are no other switches, so there's no autofocus manual toggle. And your filter size is 67 millimeters. Comes with caps, the lens hood, as I said, and a little pouch. They're calling it a case, but I call it a pouch. Lens construction, 19 elements and 15 groups. So minimum focus at 24 millimeters, half a meter or 1.64 feet. At 200 millimeters, it's 0.7 meters or 2.3 feet. Maximum reproduction ratio, 0.28 times. 7 rounded diaphragm aperture blades, Oh yeah, the weight, 570 grams or 1 pound, 4.2 ounces, and so on. Speaking as an enthusiast, where I think my value add is, what do I think of this lens? I think it's a great all-rounder, and I had a lot of fun with it. And it's still very, very sharp, and hardly any distortion that I can see. One of the nice things about the Z series is that all of the corrections for things like color fringing are baked right into the files, right into the RAW files and the JPEGs, of course. So in fact, you can't even turn it off. So no longer do you have to rely on, your RAW processing software to apply lens profiles. The profile's built into the camera, and it's applied automatically and baked into your file, whether it be a RAW file or a JPEG. Note the S designation is missing. It's not an S lens, so it is sort of more of a consumer grade Z mount, but it's pretty darn good, even though it's considered slightly lesser beast. I would say one complaint that I have is the zoom ring is really large, but the focus ring, when you're on manual focus, is this tiny little ring here. It's not very big. I would prefer, something a little chunkier, because when you're looking through the EVF, it's sometimes hard to find that focus ring, and I'm always hitting the zoom ring instead. And it does extend as you zoom out to the 200 millimeters, so it's kind of, that's what happens with internal focusing lenses. They, that are zooms, is, you've got to have a compromise somewhere, right? So, over time, could you get dust and dirt on here, and then by zooming back, it's being pulled into the mechanism? I guess you can. Time will tell. I haven't had any issues with it. And it's made in Thailand. So what? As long as Nikon quality control is seeing to that, I'm not worried about it. I did add a filter to the front because, as you can see, the lens hood does have this, typical look of it on the ultra zooms. There's sort of the flower kind of effect. So I'm worried about something hitting that front element, so I did put a 67 millimeter Nikkor Z filter on the front. So I do recommend that for this particular lens. I don't really bother with filters for most of my lenses, as it's yet another piece of glass between you and the subject. And I'd rather just have the actual optics and use the lens hood as protection. Plus, like this one's fluorine coated on the front element to protect it against, minor scratches. You're not going to be able to scratch that easily. You really have to do something bad to it to make some damage known, right?
It works best in good light when you're going out, when the light is wonderful. Low light, not so good. I mean, I did some low light testing with it, and beyond a certain point, your image turns to mush. really extreme ISO ranges are a waste of time. So, I even tried using really long shutter speeds, and I just couldn't get the depth of field I needed. The autofocus system doesn't work in extremely low light. There's no infinity stop, so it's hard to find infinity. So I'd be looking at the images in the computer going, I didn't nail focus on infinity. So, low light is not its forte, I would say. So yeah, it is a compromise, but in terms of sharpness and clarity and, overall lack of distortion, it's pretty amazing. Like, I think all the Z series lenses are pretty amazing that way.
I think the price is not bad. A lot of people who've shot Nikon in the past are like, whoa, the lenses are way more expensive and the system's bigger, everything's heavier. Well, yeah, it's full frame, right? And that image circle is bigger. So you've got a bigger hole that you've got to mate to in your camera body. So yeah, it does make for bigger designs, but some of them are pretty compact. Like the 35 1.8 is fairly compact. The 24 to 70 f4 is fairly compact. As far as this lens is concerned, I think it's a great all-rounder. If you're a pro, you probably wouldn't consider this. You'd probably get yourself the 70 to 200 f2.8 and then the 24 to 70 f2.8.
But, I don't have 3,500 Canadian lying around to just drop on that right now. Anyway, I think it's a really good all-in-one lens, and I think I'm going to keep it. That's all I have to say today. Thank you for watching. Fade out.